Picture the scene. It's 6:47 on a Monday morning. A project manager reaches for their phone before the working day has properly begun. The message is short. One of their most experienced team members won't be coming in today. They are unwell. Nothing more, nothing less. At first, it doesn't feel like a major problem. After all, it's only one person, only one day. The organization employs dozens of people, perhaps hundreds, maybe thousands. Surely the business can absorb it. The project manager puts the phone down and begins making small adjustments. A meeting is moved to later in the day. A colleague is asked to cover part of the workload. A customer update is postponed until the afternoon. Another task is pushed into tomorrow. Nothing dramatic, nothing unusual, nothing worthy of an emergency meeting. Yet over the next 8 hours, something fascinating begins to happen. Not because the absence is catastrophic, because work behaves in a way many organizations fail to recognize. Work doesn't disappear, it moves. And as it moves, so do responsibility, pressure, delay, risk, and cost. That movement creates a story far bigger than a payroll calculation. A story that quietly unfolds inside businesses every single day. A story most organizations never fully measure. The true cost of sickness absence. If somebody asked a finance team to calculate the cost of a sick day, the process would be relatively straightforward. A daily wage, employer contributions, pension costs, perhaps a few associated overheads. The result is a number that can be entered neatly into a spreadsheet, a cost that feels tangible, definable, manageable. And from an accounting perspective, that approach makes perfect sense. Businesses depend upon measurable information. Leaders need data. Decisions require evidence. The problem is not that the calculation is wrong. The problem is that it's incomplete. Because some of the most significant costs in business never appear as line items. You can't easily quantify frustration. You can't place a value beside delayed momentum. You can't create a formula for reduced focus or increased pressure. Yet these factors influence organizational performance every day. The spreadsheet captures the stone. It rarely captures the ripples. Imagine walking through a busy organization at 10 o'clock in the morning. The phones are ringing, teams are meeting, orders are being processed, projects are advancing, customers are waiting for responses, deadlines are approaching. The machinery of business is already in motion. Now remove one person. Not the entire department, not a key contract, not a major customer. One person, one ordinary employee, one absence. From a distance, almost nothing appears different. The building remains open. The computers still function. The phones continue ringing. Customers continue making inquiries. Work continues moving forward. And that is precisely why the true impact often remains invisible. Because organizations are remarkably good at compensating. People adapt. Managers rearrange priorities. Teams cover for one another. Employees absorb additional responsibilities. Problems are solved quietly. Success often hides the cost. The organization appears resilient because people work harder to maintain normality. The customer sees continuity. The dashboard shows activity. The business survives another day. What often goes unnoticed is what that continuity required. One of the most overlooked realities of organizational life is that pressure rarely disappears. It transfers. When somebody is unavailable, their responsibilities don't vanish into thin air. Someone else answers the call. Someone else attends the meeting. Someone else responds to the customer. Someone else absorbs the interruption. At first, these adjustments feel insignificant. Most employees willingly help their colleagues. Most managers are accustomed to solving operational problems. Most teams pride themselves on supporting one another when challenges emerge. That spirit of cooperation is one of the strengths of a healthy organization. But even strengths have limits. The extra responsibility carried today joins the responsibilities already carried yesterday. The delayed task joins other delayed tasks. The postponed conversation joins a growing list of conversations still waiting to happen. Pressure is rarely announced. It accumulates. And accumulation changes behavior in subtle ways. Attention becomes divided. Patience becomes shorter. Decisions become rushed. Errors become slightly more likely. Recovery becomes slightly less frequent. None of these shifts trigger alarm bells. Most organizations never notice them happening. Yet collectively, they influence performance far more than many leaders realize. Customers experience outcomes, not explanations. They don't attend internal planning meetings. They don't see staffing shortages. They don't understand resource constraints, nor should they need to. A customer experiences the response time, the communication, the consistency, the quality of service, the reliability of delivery. When these experiences improve, trust grows. When they deteriorate, trust weakens. The reasons behind those changes often remain invisible. This creates an uncomfortable truth. A customer may never know that an absence occurred, but they may absolutely feel its consequences. A delayed response here, a missed opportunity there, a project progressing more slowly than expected, a relationship receiving slightly less attention than before. The customer sees the symptom. The organization understands the cause. The challenge is that symptoms eventually influence commercial outcomes, whether the causes are visible or not. There is another dimension to sickness absence that receives remarkably little attention: the leadership burden. Every operational problem eventually finds its way towards somebody responsible for solving it: a supervisor, a manager, a department head, a director, a business owner. The absence itself may be manageable. The adjustment may be manageable. The additional conversation may be manageable. The revised schedule may be manageable. The issue is rarely one challenge. The issue is accumulation. One more decision, one more problem, one more adjustment, one more responsibility. Leadership energy operates much like any other finite resource. Every decision consumes attention. Every problem consumes focus. Every interruption consumes capacity. Over time, organizations can become trapped in a cycle of reaction. Leaders spend increasing amounts of time solving immediate problems and decreasing amounts of time building future capability. The business remains busy, yet progress becomes harder. Growth slows, improvement stalls. Strategic thinking gets postponed until next week, then the week after, then the month after that. Eventually, organizations begin paying a hidden tax, not because leaders lack capability, because they have become consumed by operational gravity. For years, businesses have asked a sensible question: what does sickness absence cost? But perhaps there is a better question: what creates the conditions where people can consistently perform at their best? Because the organizations achieving exceptional performance rarely focus exclusively on managing problems. They invest significant effort understanding what prevents those problems from emerging in the first place. How sustainable are workloads? How effective is communication? How capable are leaders? How resilient are teams? How supported do employees feel? How quickly are concerns identified and addressed? These questions may appear unrelated to absence. In reality, they are deeply connected. Because organizational performance is never the product of a single factor, it emerges from hundreds of interacting conditions, each influencing the next, each shaping outcomes in ways that are not always immediately visible. People will always become ill. Life will always introduce uncertainty. No organization can eliminate absence entirely, nor should it expect to. The opportunity lies somewhere far more valuable: in building organizations capable of remaining healthy, resilient, and effective when challenges inevitably arise. That means developing capable leaders, creating supportive cultures, strengthening communication, improving learning, reducing unnecessary friction, building environments where people can contribute consistently without being consumed by constant pressure. Because every customer experience, every project outcome, every innovation, and every commercial success ultimately passes through people first. People are not simply part of the business. They are the business. The next time a manager receives that early morning message, the immediate cost may appear straightforward: a shift to cover, a schedule to adjust, a day's absence to record. Yet beneath that routine event lies a much larger story: a story about pressure, capability, leadership, resilience, performance. A story about how organizations respond when circumstances become less than ideal. Because that response reveals far more than most metrics ever could. A company can insure its vehicles, its equipment, its buildings, its inventory. Yet the asset responsible for creating value every single day rarely appears on a balance sheet. It arrives each morning through the front door, bringing knowledge, judgment, experience, energy, potential. And the organizations that understand the true value of that asset often discover something remarkable. The cost of absence was never the most important question. The capability of the people who remain always was. Visit www.modernlifeskillsacademy.com to learn more.